A weather alert from the Fox 5 Storm Team.
And it is 2:46 here on your Sunday morning. I'm Fox 5 Storm Team meteorologist Alex Forbes. We are interrupting programming for a new tornado warning that has just been issued now in northwest Georgia. This is for southern Dade County and into Walker County, and this is going to be in effect here for the next 30 minutes or so. We've been tracking the storm back into northwestern Alabama, and it has been moving at a quick pace. So this warning going until 3:30, and let me show you what I'm looking at here. This is right along Interstate 59, back on the other side of the Alabama state line, just north of Valley Head. It's been this area of rotation that we've been tracking, moving towards the northeast at 65 miles an hour here for the better part of actually several hours. We've been watching this back into Mississippi, central Alabama, now in eastern Alabama, now moving into western Georgia. So if you're watching this morning from Lafayette up towards Chickamauga, it's going to stop just short of the Tennessee state line. So it's going to be more central Walker County and southern Dade County need to be headed to your tornado safe places here in the next little bit. Let's zoom down to street level here and get some roads. This is going to be near Head River, County Highway 92, Old State Road, Cloverdale Road, County Highway 198. Amos Mill is the general area. And if you're familiar with Dade County, this is going to be just south of 59 where it crosses into Alabama. So 59 is in Dade County for like 10 miles before it hits Interstate 24. It's south of all of that. Once you get down towards Head River, that's where you're getting into the Walker County area, and that's where you're going to be running into State Route 157, West Cove Road, South Cedar Lane, and the Cedar Grove area, just generally speaking. Zooming out and taking a look further down the road and further south, I want to point out that we have several little notches in here that we are tracking, and those have the potential to produce tornadoes here through the morning hours. So while we're tracking this and have an active tornado warning in Dade and Walker counties right now, we are also watching Chattooga County and northern Floyd County, Gordon and Whitfield counties very closely for any, like that's catching my eye right there, any kinks in these lines that could potentially produce a spin-up tornado. And I really want to emphasize with this morning's event that what we're looking at more than anything is quick spin-ups, and that should be it. This is a part of a faster moving line of storms that's going to blow through all of North Georgia here over the course of the next couple of hours. And as it does so, it's going to have that opportunity to produce spin-up tornadoes, but also a damaging wind risk up to about 70 miles an hour. Now, if you're watching this morning from Metro Atlanta, really the eastern side of the state is under a tornado, or excuse me, the western side of the state is under a tornado watch until 9 a.m. This is from Dade and Walker counties where we have that active tornado warning right now through Gilmer County down to Cherokee, Cobb, and Fulton included in this tornado watch until 9 a.m. and then out towards Rockdale, Newton, and Jasper counties and points southward. So if you're in this red shaded area, I don't think the threat is really going to be around until 9 o'clock. It's more a fact that they pull it out as long as it can go and then trim it back. But for the moment, obviously we're watching this, but our attention is up towards the north and to the west with Dade and Walker counties with this active tornado warning. I gave you some street names. Let's get into more specifics on the storm here. And really what I want to do is play this back over the last 30 minutes. And what you're going to see is this rotation that we've been tracking right there. There it goes. And you can see it's not as well defined, at least at this moment. Watch it in this loop right here. The reds and greens are not as bright. They're not as close together, which could be a good sign. But I also caution you on this. We're dealing with some terrain in this parts of northeastern Alabama and northwest Georgia. So even though we've got a radar right there in Huntsville, it's not necessarily the clearest view of this storm. But nonetheless, we have this tornado warning in place until 3:30. So for another 40 minutes, we'll see how long that actually goes. But this storm's moving quickly at 65. And what I want to do now is put a track on this and play this all the way out. And what we're going to do is track this through really the Catoosa County and Dalton areas. And so because it's moving quickly, you have to zoom it out a bit. And I tell you what, I'm going to track more broadly this part of the storm at 65. And here's what we're looking at. So Cedar Grove in the next 9 minutes, Harrisburg 9 minutes. Cedar Grove now 8 minutes. Lafayette 16 minutes. All right. So if you're watching from Lafayette in central Walker County right now, this is going to be in the next 16 minutes, and then towards Trickham in the next 28 minutes. And as I was mentioning earlier, right, we've got more notches down to the south that we're watching closely here through the morning hours. That extends back down into the Birmingham area and even down into Montgomery. So big picture here, we're going to continue to watch more generally speaking, this line, right? If you're watching from Atlanta, we've been talking about northwest Georgia up there, but this extends now back into Birmingham and Montgomery. You've got a solid line of severe thunderstorm warnings across the state of Alabama, and that's why our tornado watch goes for so long. It's because it's going to take until 9 o'clock for this system to move through all of North Georgia, and of course embedded within that we've seen these spin-up tornadoes like the possibility we're looking at now in northwest Georgia. So this tornado warning continues for Dade and Walker counties. This is where we need you to head to your tornado safe place, and I'm going to bring this up probably a couple of times this morning, even if you're not necessarily impacted by the exact storm that we're tracking at the moment. Now is a good time to remind yourself of where to go in a tornado. So for us, this is going to be the lowest level, most interior room away from doors and windows. And for many of us, that would be a basement. So if you're in southern Dade and central Walker County and you have a basement, that's where you need to go right now. If you don't have that, as I was mentioning, put as many walls between you and the outside as possible, right? If you're in this room, well, you've got 2 exterior walls right there. Usually a bathroom is a good place to go, but you want as many walls between you and the grass as possible, and that's what you need to be doing right now in central Dade County and, in southern Dade County and central Walker County, the way we see it at the moment with this active tornado warning. So file that away, even if you're not in these areas, right? Something to keep in mind here through the morning hours with the threat of tornadoes, but also with the threat of 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts with this line of storms moving through at this moment. So here's what we've got going on. Let's see if we can get another check of the radar sweep here. And again, not as well defined, but where the circulation was is now coming across the state line. So we were talking about roads a minute ago, and we highlighted specifically State Route 157. If you are in the vicinity of State Route 157 in Walker County, also that's going to be County Highway, it looks like 90, County Highway 92, County Highway 198, and this part of Dade County, this is where we need you in your tornado safe place right now. Looking down the road up into Lafayette and into Walker County, this is going to be State Route 193 as you look towards Andrews Lane, Pocket Road, Chamberlain Road is right here, Blue Hole Road, Valley Head, Davis Crossroads. That's the general area we're talking about. So if you're hearing these roads, you know they're close to you. Now is that time to be headed to your tornado safe place. There's Fairview Heights, and then this is going to be State Route 1 as it moves up towards the north, up towards the Tennessee state line. Now it is worth noting if you're watching from Chattooga County, right, you're not included in this warning, but it does come right up to the Chattooga County line. Also, if you are in parts of southeastern Walker County, you're not included in this. It's really between Lafayette, including Lafayette, and up towards Chickamauga, stops just short of Lookout Mountain and Fort Oglethorpe there on the Catoosa-Walker County line. So Chickamauga to Lafayette and then points westward is where you need to be in your tornado safe place at this moment. Let's zoom out, see if we have any new scans. We do not, but again, we're looking further down the line, something that's catching my eye. If you're watching from Chattooga County and Floyd County, that little notch right there is not a great look to me. But at least at the moment, I'm not seeing anything that's jumping out to me in parts of Dade and Walker counties as we speak. Now, this tornado warning, as I mentioned, going until 3:30 this morning, so it's technically for another 30 minutes. However, we would be looking at the possibility of it outrunning the warning box if this track really stays on its course here across parts of northwestern Georgia. So let's see. I'm more curious actually about what's going on right here. That would be back into Jackson County, Alabama, Cherokee County, Alabama. We have a lot of repeat names in Alabama that we have in Georgia, so that's Alabama, not Cherokee County, Georgia. I'm going to put a track on this now at 65 because I don't love the look of it. So if you're in Coosa, just a heads up, we're going to be tracking something in the next 9 minutes. Berry College, that would be Rome, 18 minutes. Armucci, 21 minutes. Floyd Springs, 23 minutes. Model High School, about 23 minutes. If you're in those areas, we're going to be watching it closely. No active warning as we speak, and just looking at this, at a 30,000-foot view, Calhoun sticks out to me as right there in the middle of that track. Obviously, no warning on this, not even a severe thunderstorm warning yet. That rotation is back into Alabama, but that's just another one of those little notches that we're watching closely. And now that I'm saying that, I'm noticing we're getting a lightning strike right there, which if you see a big uptick in the lightning, that could be an indicator sometimes that something is going to begin to happen in these areas. But as we've been talking about, really our focus right now is in Lafayette, it's in Walker County, it's in far southern Dade County here over the next little bit. Notice these warnings have been, they were carried over from Alabama, at least this one warning here in Georgia, and we're going to be keeping an eye on that, at least at the moment. But I am going to be watching closely down to the south, just outside of Floyd County here over the course of the next little while. So let's zoom back in here, see what we have. Flip over to, this is our debris tracker, see if we've picked up anything, and nothing is really sticking out at me, at least at the moment. What we would see is if something had happened, there would be something that actually, it would look like that, but it would be in this general area. Right? You need something that looks like this, but it needs to be co-located is the word we use with that area of rotation, and we're not seeing anything like that right now. So the good news is there's no indication that a tornado has occurred, at least in the last 30 minutes with the storm, but there is indication, and there have been indications of a decent amount of rotation within these storms, which is why, this specific storm at least, which is why we have this tornado warning in effect for the next 33 minutes or so across North Georgia, or Northwest Georgia at that. So if you're just joining us this morning, you're just waking up, I want to take you to the tornado watch, something that is going to be a close, closely watched here through the morning hours. Western Georgia included in this. We've been up in Dade and Walker counties, but if you're watching here from the metro Atlanta area, we are very much in play for some stronger storms. This is going to be Cherokee County, Cobb, Fulton, DeKalb, all included in this. Douglas, Carroll counties, Noonan, over towards Griffin, say Fayetteville, Lovejoy, over towards Jonesboro, McDonough, Conyers, Covington, all included within this tornado watch until 9 a.m. But as I was saying earlier, I don't think places like Calhoun and Rome and Rockmart and Tallapoosa are going to be in the tornado watch until 9 a.m. As this leading line of storms comes through, you're going to see this watch trimmed back more and more and more and more. And that leading line of storms, unfortunately for us, it's moving into Northwest Georgia right now with this tornado warning, but it does extend all the way back into Alabama. And this whole line has the possibility of spin up tornadoes. Again, we've been focusing up here, but look, we just got a new tornado warning just south of Birmingham. That would be in line with the LaGrange area. I'm not saying that a tornado is going to happen in LaGrange. What I'm saying is that we are going to be looking at that threat throughout the entire line as it begins to move into North Georgia. So it is now coming up on 3 o'clock in the morning. If you're just now joining us, we have a tornado warning in Northwest Georgia and a strong line of storms with winds of 70 miles an hour moving in from Alabama, bearing down on Western Georgia and metro Atlanta here over the course of the next several hours. Embedded within this line are going to be little areas of rotation that have the opportunity to produce quick spin-up tornadoes as they move into the state. Now, Rome, Dalton, Calhoun, they're going to be first in line here over the next little bit. We've got an active severe thunderstorm warning for the far northwest corner of the state, but embedded within that, southern Dade County and central Walker counties, that's where you need to be in your tornado safe place right now, because a tornado warning is in effect for the next 30 minutes or so in those areas. And as we track that, that's going to move across the Tennessee state line fairly quickly. But what we're watching is further downstream, right? Severe thunderstorm warnings all the way from really Cherokee and DeKalb County, Alabama's, Cleburne County, we're responsible for Cleburne County here at Fox 5, now in a severe thunderstorm warning. And that extends back down towards the Montgomery area and even south of Montgomery. So a powerful punch of storms, we'll call it, moving into North Georgia this morning. Let's zoom back down into Dade and Walker counties now. And what we're going to do is check in on what's going on because it's been about 5 or 7 minutes since we looked at this particular storm, and it looks like it is advancing rather quickly as expected, about 65 miles an hour. There is another little area of rotation that is jumping out at me just at quick glance, and I'm looking at the debris tracker. I'm not seeing any debris with that area of rotation, at least at this specific moment. So I just wanted to get a check on that. Now, as I was looking at that, it updated again. It would be right in here, but it does not look as defined as it did just a scan ago. But this is the kind of nature of the storms that we're dealing with. So we've been mentioning Lafayette. We've been talking about Lafayette being down the road from the storm. Well, I would say now, if you're in the city limits, really if you have a Lafayette mailing address, now is the time that you need to be headed to your tornado safe place. Where is that? Well, I know basements are a great option, and I know not everybody has a basement, but that's priority number one. If you can get below ground, that is where you are best off. If you don't have a basement, what you need to do is get everybody in your structure and go to your lowest floor and put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. For many people, that's a closet in a bedroom, that's a bathroom, a room without windows, under the stairwell, things like that, where you're in the center part of whatever structure you're in and away from doors and windows. Now, if you're watching us from, say, a gas station, right, that could be a bathroom towards the back of the store, but not something with an exterior wall. Something to keep in mind here. And I would say if you are in a manufactured home, okay, that is not a safe place to be during a tornado. And I would, one, if you don't have enough time, get into the middle of that as quickly as possible. But if you have a permanent structure close by, I would try to make it there at least at some point here over the next several minutes. And I would not waste any time in doing so. And that goes for all of North Georgia this morning, right? We have this tornado watch in effect. And look, manufactured homes and manufactured structures are not safe places to be in those areas. Now, good news, the Dade County part of this warning has just been canceled, so we now only have a tornado warning for Walker County as the threat has exited southern Dade County. So we're giving the all clear now for Dade County. This is firmly into Walker County, and we've been mentioning Lafayette. This is where you need to be headed to your tornado safe place as we speak right now. Let's see, I'm going to check the motion on this. So they're continuing the warning, severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado located near Rising Fawn or 9 miles west of Lafayette. So Rising Fawn is right in this area. And it is moving northeast at 50. All right, so slightly slower. And I tell you what, we have this product here. It's called the Barron button. And something I'm just noticing that is at least a piece of good news. If we saw some really strong rotation, you would get some of these red values and even yellow values in here. We're not seeing any of that outside of Lafayette. I just wanted to check on that real quick. Your shear rate is rather weak as well. That means there is some twist, right? You get some colors. You don't get colors without twist, but it's not very pronounced right now. See, we're in the greens, we're in the weaks. We don't have any strong areas, at least as we speak. I was looking at that to see if we could really lock in on one location to track, but it doesn't look like we have that. So what I'm going to do is track this northeast at 50. And this is going to take us outside of the warning now. All right, so if you're in Dalton, we're about 21 minutes away from a rotating part of the storm moving into, really I'm thinking north of Dalton, northern Whitfield County, about 20 minutes away from that. Trickham, about 14 minutes. Catlett, about 5 minutes. Catlett's right there just outside of the warning right now. And we've been mentioning that this is going to go until 3:30. I can tell you right now, this storm is going to be moving out of that warning box before 3:30 and into really Catoosa County. So Lafayette needs to be in the tornado safe place. I know I sound like a broken record, but a lot of people might be turning on the TV or at Fox Local for the first time. Lafayette is the area of concern right now and near Rising Fawn. Also down to the south, we're tracking a little kink in the line right over Somerville there in Chattooga County. Let me go get a check of our storm down here. Also a more noticeable kink in Floyd County. All right, I don't love the look of that at all, to be quite frank with you. It's not strong, but it is a kink in the line, and that's what you need for you need rotation like that for a tornado to develop. So that has certainly caught my eye. That would be right there. I believe that would be the Etowah River going into Alabama and that general area west of Rome. So if you're in Floyd County right now, particularly in Rome and north of Rome, we're going to be watching this rather closely here over the next few minutes to see what happens there. I'm going to put a loop on this and see how that has evolved over time, and it is getting more. Notice how it gets more of a C to it, or an S might be a better way to put it. See how it does that? So you're seeing a pulse of air, really, that's moving away from the radar, like that, interacting with air moving that way. And when you get two running up against one another, that's when you start to get your twisting motion in the atmosphere. So I'm watching that closely there in Floyd County in the Rome area. We still have the warning up in Lafayette. That's where you need to be in your tornado safe place. And I think I'm also seeing a little closer together some wind values that just piqued my interest. That would be right over Lafayette right now. It's nothing crazy, but it is something in this general area. So look, downtown Lafayette, if you're along State Route 193, Foster Mill Road, this is where you need to be in your tornado safe place right now. Not 5 minutes from now, not 10 minutes from now, right now. This is Jack Drive, South Old Alabama Highway, Kemp Road, Villanelle Street. Let's see, this is going to be over towards North Dick Creek Road, Tate Road, Rio Road. That's technically outside of the warning, but there is a storm capable of producing a tornado in that general area right over Lafayette, and we'll see what comes about here over the next few minutes as it begins to move out of this warning box. So this warning was issued at 2:46. It's now 3:07, so we've been on the air for about 20 minutes, and the warning has been in effect for about 20 minutes. And I'm also watching what's going on down near the Etowah River in Floyd County pretty closely. I tell you what, we've got a camera in Rome. Can we maybe get that queued up? There we go. There's our Rome camera. Something that's kind of interesting about the storm, generally speaking, right now, is that we don't have a ton of lightning. We've got 31 strikes here in the last 10 minutes in this whole camera shot. And what I'm going to be watching for, I tell you what, John, is that Rome or is that Dalton? That's Rome. Okay. So this is from the EMA building in Rome. And we just saw a lightning strike just outside of Rome. And what I'm going to be watching for is a couple of things. One, is there an uptick in lightning right around that area of rotation? And two, if there is an uptick in lightning, what are we going to be able to see out of this camera right here? As I mentioned, we don't have a warning for that area just yet, and we might not get one, right? The rotation is very broad. It's several miles wide, but this is the type of setup you get with what's called I use a really big acronym here, a QLCS system, but a squall line, as you might know it as. That's the kind of setup that we are watching for, and haven't seen any strikes there in Rome here in the 30 seconds we've had this up, but I'm going to be continuing to watch that closely. I at least want to keep this up here until we see one, just so we can see the clouds in the skies. Something else I'm noticing just from my drive in this morning here in the Atlanta area compared to the Rome area, we have a lot of fog. In fact, we have a dense fog advisory in effect for all of North Georgia through the morning hours, but we are not seeing that fog in Rome right now, which tells me the air is a little more unstable up there, at least than the Atlanta air when I came to work, right? The Atlanta air is definitely different right now, but there is not that thickness at the surface necessarily that we're seeing in other areas at this moment in time. So watching Rome near the Etowah River closely. If you're in Lafayette, not seeing anything that is jumping out at me at this moment that is immediately concerning. However, this tornado warning is technically still in place for Walker County here over the next little bit, and we'll see. I don't see a reason to extend it right now, to be completely honest with you. My interest is down in Floyd County and what's going on in Rome. Now, I'm going to track this whole line to the east at 60, and the reason I'm going to do that is because outside of a tornado risk, this line is capable of producing winds up to about 70 miles an hour. All right, so if you're in Rome, you have the possibility of 70-mile-an-hour winds regardless of a tornado threat in the next 4 minutes. Dalton 5 minutes, Sugar Valley 4 minutes now. Let's see if I come up here and say, let's do, I'm trying to get some more cities in here. Come further down. So Rome 3 minutes, Sugar Valley 4 minutes, Reeves 6 minutes, Armucci High School right now, Mill Creek right now. Let's see. I think that's as fine-tuned as I can get. But that's concerning. Again, tornado risk or not. And look, that goes for this whole line extending back down into Montgomery, right? More tornado warnings back into Alabama, but winds of 70 miles an hour with this whole line. That's moving into northern Georgia, and you see embedded within that 233 lightning strikes and that whole camera view with that wintry mess up to the north at this moment in time. So that's kind of the lay of the land. We've got this tornado watch in place for the next little bit. Let's go back over to the velocity here and go back into northwest Georgia. Let's see, check in with the National Weather Service. I'm not seeing any new information from them on whether or not they're going to keep this, or what the thought is here in Rome. I would say, obviously I've been watching Floyd County rather closely. This is very broad in Floyd County, right? There's not an imminent threat at this immediate moment in Floyd, but there is, generally speaking, a broad storm structure that would be capable of producing a tornado. And in fact, it's worth noting that this yellow flashing box here, this severe thunderstorm warning that includes Gordon County, includes Bartow, includes Floyd, has a tornado possible tag on it, which means the National Weather Service knows the type of system that's coming through, and they included the opportunity for a spin-up tornado when they were issuing the severe thunderstorm warning. The severe thunderstorm warning that is, goes until 3:45, and I expect we will be seeing a lot more of that, especially here in the metro area, over the course of the morning hours. So let me put this back into the regular mode, the greens, the yellows, the reds. There's nothing, again, really in the structure that's catching my eye, like the velocity signatures that were there in the Rome area. But, going to continue to watch that closely. In fact, let's track this whole line of storms into the metro area as we look at this over the course of the morning hours. And actually, disregard those times. I need to change one of the settings on here, one of the parameters, if you will, to see. In fact, I think I need to draw it first. Okay, so at 60 is kind of the consensus of what this line is moving at. And let's go. Let's do that. And this. So all of North Georgia, right? We're going to be looking at this. Berry College in the next 2 minutes, Mill Creek 2 minutes, Everett Springs 2 minutes, Edwardsville about 3 minutes from now. Cedartown 5 minutes, Calhoun 11 minutes, Taylorsville 18 minutes, White 26 minutes. And it goes further down, right? Like it is a powerful line of storms is the best way to put it as we look at this here over the next little bit. So the storm that we've been tracking with the tornado warning has moved out of the tornado warning box, even though the warning still technically is in place for the next 15 minutes. So what we're going to do is watch the Floyd County storm closely, right? Because I still don't love the look of that. And then I think we can give an all clear for Lafayette. So if you've been watching from Lafayette and Chickamauga and Central Walker County, came on about 30 minutes ago for these areas, I think we're all clear from a tornado risk at this point in Walker County. Technically, this warning still goes, and I'm going to stay with you here for a little bit. It's now 3:15 in the morning because I'm curious as to what's going on down there in Floyd County, and technically our Walker County warning still exists. And the Floyd County storm doesn't look as pronounced as it did. Just checking some of the different parameters here to see if any of the different radars are seeing anything different. Let's see, let's check in on the it's right there on the edge of the Peachtree City radar. And so the tornado warning now in Walker County has been canceled. So I'm going to hang with you here for a few minutes, especially because now in this Floyd County storm, I'm beginning to see a little donut hole like that right there just to the north of Rome. I'm curious to see how it's not totally correlated with that rotation signature, but it is one nonetheless. So we're going to hang with you here for at least a few more minutes. And look, I mean, regardless of this tornado threat, we've got winds excess of 70 miles an hour. In fact, back into Huntsville, when this storm rolled through the Huntsville region, the airport, the anemometer, the spinny thing at the airport, quite literally measured a 75 mile an hour wind gust. So this is not a hypothetical. We've got strong winds in this area and moving into Rome as we speak. I tell you what, John, let's see if we can pop up the Rome camera here in the next couple of minutes. There we go. So this is Rome. We've been watching for lightning. Notice we've got some wet ground here over the EMA Center in Rome right now. And I'm going to be watching for some of the trees to start moving, right? This is going to be the heavier rain. In fact, let's just leave this camera up and watch this move into Rome. And the heavy rain is quite literally on the doorstep as we speak. So what I expect to happen is, right, we can see the gas station lights. We can see the red lights there off in the distance. Obviously, the lights of the city, more broadly speaking, off in the distance. But we're going to lose visibility rather quickly, and we're going to see the wind pick up in this area at the moment as this begins to move in. So again, this is in Floyd County. If you've been watching us this morning, we don't have any more active tornado warnings, but we're going to hang with you here for just a few more minutes, at least until the bottom of the hour. And we're going to be watching this move into Rome as we speak. But as you're at home watching this, say you're in the metro Atlanta area, know that this line extends back down into Birmingham and it extends into Montgomery, and winds upwards of 70 miles an hour are going to be a possibility across North Georgia this morning as we watch this line begin to move in here across the area. So that's Rome over there in this box. This is Fox 5 Live Viper. The heaviest of the wind and the rain right now along a line from Dalton down towards Rome. We've got that little notch there in the Rome area, and then another line, or really the same line, just offset a little bit, extends from Rome back down into Cleburne County, Alabama. So if you're watching this morning from Heflin and honestly Wedowee now, Randolph County, these two counties get Fox 5 and watch Fox 5. You got this bearing down on you as well. The heaviest of the rain is between Heflin and Anniston right now. I believe that's the Talladega National Forest right there on Interstate 20. That extends back down into Talladega County. But this is moving in right there on that northwestern Cleburne County line into the Heflin area right now. If you're in Tallapoosa, if you're in Buchanan, Cedartown, you've got some really heavy rain, some really heavy wind on your doorstep. And then Carrollton is going to be next in line here, say in the next 45 minutes or so. So about 4 o'clock this morning in the Carroll County area for some really heavy rain and really heavy wind. Let's check out the velocity, the winds in the storm. Whenever we say velocity, we're talking about the winds. You still see that notch there over the Rome area. Again, that's very broad, but it is eyebrow raising. And this is where we are looking live right now, our live camera in Rome. Have not seen the rain. Actually, now that I'm saying that, if you look in that street light right there, you can see the rain really beginning to pick up. And in fact, I tell you what, here's what I can do. I can actually put the camera behind me. Now, what camera did that? That looks like Megan. John, if we could get this in 25. And what I can do is show you what's going to happen here over the next little bit. So we'll come back to this here in just a second. Obviously, rain is falling where we're looking live right now. But what I can do is show you the radar, at least in Rome, because we've got the picture next to us. And you see the heaviest part of the rain now moving into Rome as we speak. All right. So this is Rome right here. There's your pinks right down towards Cave Spring. There's your live picture. And now, if we come back over here, here you go. So there's your rain coming down and your street light at a pretty good clip. Notice our visibility is beginning to come down. I'm going to be watching to see how these trees start swaying with the wind here in the next little bit. Obviously, you see the water droplets here on the camera, and this is what we're going to be watching now. See? All right, here it comes. It keeps picking up in intensity there. So we were just looking at this on Fox 5 Live Viper, and here is your ground truth now. Next, we're going to see the winds really begin to pick up, and this is going to be the cold front now moving through the Rome area. And this is what everybody's going to be looking ahead to here over the next little while across North Georgia as the heaviest of the rain begins to move in. And if you've been watching for the last little bit, you know the tornado warning has been canceled. However, we still have a severe thunderstorm warning with that possibility of tornadoes embedded within that, and it's not something to discount, right? In fact, a couple weeks ago at the end of December, we had an event where you had severe thunderstorm warnings with tornado possibles, and we ended up getting 6 or 7 tornadoes out of that. There's some lightning there in Rome now. We ended up getting 6 or 7 tornadoes out of that. That would have been the event that dropped a tornado in Cobb County, in Meriwether County. I believe we had one in Dunwoody. So, you know, they're not nothing, right? And especially with the wind threat, that's what's most concerning as we track these storms here through the morning hours. I would say the wind threat is primary and your tornado threat is actually secondary. And that's what we're going to be watching closely here over the next little while. So that's Rome. Let me take you back over to Fox 5 Live Viper now. We'll keep an eye on what's going on there. And there's your heaviest of the rain now in Rome, moving into Cedartown. And the reason why I'm taking you back over to Fox 5 Live Viper is because we've got this brand new severe thunderstorm warning until 4 a.m. This is going to be for Polk, Haralson, Paulding, Douglas, Carroll, and far northern Heard counties. And within this warning, what we have is winds upwards of 60 in this particular warning, but the storm itself is moving east at 70 miles an hour. All right, so Douglasville, Carrollton, Dallas, Buchanan, Villa Rica, Bremen, Temple, Rockmart, Hiram, Tallapoosa, Bowden, Mount Zion, Whitesburg, Waco, lots of areas, Roopville, Lithia Springs, Yorkville, Brownsville, included within this severe thunderstorm warning for some strong winds here over the next little bit. Embedded within this line, we still have kinks that we're watching. And let me flip this over to the Birmingham radar now, since we're a little further south. Nothing immediately jumping out at me, but there is the possibility of seeing quick little spin ups out of this here over the next several hours as this line begins to move through. And you see that line goes all the way down to the south. So for that reason, right, we've got this tornado watch in effect for North Georgia, really western Georgia, including the metro Atlanta area until 9 a.m. But what you're going to begin to see is counties trimmed back out of this, right? Dade County, no more need for a tornado watch here, at least for just in general this morning, no more need for a tornado watch. So as soon as this line clears several more counties, right, you'll see that begin to be cleared out. But I would say Catoosa, Chattooga, Walker, Dade are all okay. The strongest of the storms are now from Dalton to Calhoun to Rome, and then back into Alabama. They were right there on that northeastern Cleburne County line. And that's now beginning to move south into the metro Atlanta area, and that's going to create for a bit of a loud morning across the metro Atlanta area. The other thing to keep in mind, we've been talking about what are the temperatures going to do, is that Atlanta has now made it to 60 degrees. So our air is a little more unstable. If you're watching this morning from Gainesville, if you're watching from Athens, your air is extremely stable. I'm not really that concerned about a severe weather threat there. But in the Atlanta area, our temperatures continue to warm. In fact, when I was talking with meteorologist Lauren Robinson when I got here, Atlanta was at 40 something during the 10 o'clock show. So from 10 o'clock to now 3:25 in the morning, we have that 60 degree reading, and that's not good news with the southerly wind, right? But if you're in, say, Cumming, the Lake Lanier area, over towards the new city of Millbury, Barrow County, your air is quite stable. So as these storms continue to move in this general direction, in fact, if I put this map on with the temperatures, as soon as, in fact, you're even beginning to see it in northwest Georgia, as soon as they hit that more stable air, you're going to be okay. But Carrollton, air is very unstable. Noonan, your air is very unstable. LaGrange, 66. It's almost 70 degrees in Troup County, right? That's the kind of weather we're dealing with. Obviously, a lot of lightning associated with this as well, as this is now moving into Polk County and Haralson County, and really Paulding County here through the next 30 minutes or so. Bartow County as well. But, I mean, reading a 59 to 52 and from Rome to Canton is not insignificant, especially from 52 to 45 along Georgia 20 from Canton over towards Gainesville at this hour. So let's flip back over to Fox 5 Live Viper. We've got this new severe thunderstorm warning that includes really down towards Heard County now, but embedded within that severe thunderstorm warning, I was just looking at the text on this. The National Weather Service does not have that tornado possible tag included in this warning from Cedartown South, but they do have it included from Cedartown North, which had that little notch over the Rome area that we were tracking on Fox 5 Live Viper here within the last little bit. So let's flip back over to the velocity here. The notch is still there, but it is very broad, and we're continuing to watch the rest of this line as it moves in towards North Georgia for any other bright reds and bright greens. That's your signature, bright reds and bright greens to come together and produce potentially a spin-up tornado risk as this line begins to move into Metro Atlanta this morning from Dalton through Calhoun, Rome, Cedartown. Some really strong winds associated with this, upwards of 60 miles an hour, and even stronger back down into Alabama. Cleburne County now about halfway through the county. The strongest part of the storm moving through Heflin right now. Waco and Tallapoosa, you're going to be next there in Haralson County as this line begins to move into the Metro Atlanta area here over the course of the next little while. Now, of course, I'm going to be here through Good Day Atlanta. We will be starting Good Day Atlanta at 5 a.m. this morning. Tracking this line. In fact, the storms I expect will be right in Metro Atlanta at 5 o'clock this morning. I expect we're going to see many more severe thunderstorm warnings issued out ahead of this line, and we're going to be tracking them closely. But we lost the tornado warning about 10-15 minutes ago. The signature in Rome is still very broad and not as concerning. So considering all of that, we are going to, at 3:30, making sure my clock matches that clock, at 3:30, we're going to send you back to regularly scheduled programming on Fox. And of course, if anything changes, right, if anything spins up back into Alabama or maybe up towards the north, we're going to be back with you immediately. But at 3:30, we're going to send you back to Fox, and we'll rejoin you for sure when Good Day Atlanta begins at 5 a.m. But severe thunderstorm warning now for Gordon County, Floyd, Bartow, but really the most pressing here over the next little bit is going to be Polk, Haralson, Paulding, Carroll, and Douglas counties. That severe thunderstorm warning goes until 4 a.m. and then this whole line is going to begin to move through Metro Atlanta and North Georgia, where we have that tornado watch in place. That tornado watch is going to run until 9 a.m. But as I was mentioning, I do expect the tornado watch to be trimmed back. Right? You're going to see Dade, Walker, Catoosa, Whitfield, Chattooga. That's going to be canceled. And then you're going to get another tier of counties canceled, and then it's going to be canceled even more. Right? So if you're looking at your phone this morning from Marietta or from Dallas or from Douglasville going tornado watch till 9, well, then I don't think that's exactly going to be until 9 o'clock. Nonetheless, we're going to continue to track it all. We're going to have updates for you on Fox 5, of course, streaming on Fox Local as well. And if anything happens in the meantime, we are going to rejoin you right here on Fox 5 through the morning hours. Good Day Atlanta will begin at 5 a.m. Otherwise, we will see you between now and then if any other tornado warnings are issued across North Georgia.